now to a Fox 5 exclusive. D.C.'s police chief and victims' families were outraged to learn some D.C. judges are releasing murder suspects back into the community while they're still awaiting trial. Fox 5 has found 17 cases where the suspect was released, and the D.C. Superior Court is defending its judges' actions. Fox 5's Paul Wagner is live tonight with the story. Paul?
Hey there, Sean. D.C. Police Chief Peter Newsham is so troubled by the judge's decisions, he wants the public to know about it. He says 16 of those 17 cases are murders involving a firearm, and he's calling it, quote, a very, very serious public safety issue in which the government is not keeping people safe. And he's not alone. Victims' families are weighing in as well. In September of 2004, Kendra Smith was sitting in a car outside her southeast home when she was shot and killed. A murder that remained unsolved for 14 years until a new detective took up the case and got a warrant for Tony Aiken, a man who admitted being in the car with Smith that night and spent 17 days in jail before he was released, a decision that shocked Kendra's mom.
It was a kick in the face, it was a kick in the gut, and I felt it. I actually felt that. I never really understood it. From everything that I knew, I've always been told that if a person was arrested for murder, no bond, no bail.
In searching court records, we also found the 17-year-old accused of killing 16-year-old Dominique Franklin inside a vacant apartment in Southwest back in August was released last month, the judge putting Jawan Simpson into what's called high-intensity supervision, where he's required to wear a GPS ankle bracelet 24 hours a day. In another case, a 16-year-old charged and indicted with 10 others in the 2018 murder of 10-year-old Micaiah Wilson has also been released. Markel Cobbs, who was 16 at the time of his arrest, was also placed in the high-intensity supervision program last May.
Having somebody go back into the community after they've been presented in the court and the courts have determined that there's probable cause, it shows the community that these folks go back to that the government is not keeping them safe. That's one of my major concerns.
Chief Newsham says another major concern is possible witness intimidation.
If you feel like this is appropriate for our city, you should be able to weigh in on that. Personally, as the chief of police, I think it has going to have a serious negative impact on public safety, gun violence in particular.
But defense attorney David Benowitz says the law is clear and has been for nearly 30 years.
This is not a new phenomenon, and my response to the police chief would be, make better cases. This is not some new development in the law. It's not some new development in criminal investigation. This is pretty basic judicial decision making. And it's really an assessment of cases that usually is not too complex.
In another case involving the murder of a 15-year-old on Half Street Southwest, the judge reversed the decision to release and ordered Javon Gunter back to jail. Now, we asked Robert Moran, the chief judge of Superior Court, for a comment, and he released this statement, which reads in part, "There are many considerations that go into a judge's decision to detain a person who's presumed innocent, including whether the accused has a criminal record and whether there is strong evidence of guilt at the time the decision is being made." Sean?
You could certainly understand the police and those families being frustrated with all this. So, Paul, just to be clear, the attorney you mentioned, is the law clear on this? What did he mean by that?
Sure. He's talking about the D.C. Bail Reform Act, which Judge Moran also cited in his statement to Fox 5. He says the law does not permit a judge to detain a person with no prior convictions charged with murder solely upon a finding of probable cause. Any suggestion to the contrary is wrong on the law. People may have differing opinions about judges' decisions, but our democratic system depends on an independent judiciary that is free to make difficult decisions according to the law and not be influenced by criticism from others, including by public officials, which, as you know, Sean, is happening right now, where the chief is criticizing the judges.
And they're still facing murder charges, right?
Yeah, to be clear, all 17 are still facing murder charges. They're just out waiting for their trials to begin.
All right. Paul Wagner, thank you.
Sure.